Hope you're all well.
Circle Brugge Anderlecht is 0-3.
There's Just see we have any body. Good afternoon. Is anyone there? Just say a quick hello in the chat. That would be great. Make sure you can see and hear me okay, and everything else. Hi, Stephen. Thanks very much. Presume everything's okay, so that's great. Hi, Ashley. Nice to see you as well. Good stuff. So let's just have a look at the over 2.5 goals, put them into our list for today, and see how we get on. It was a good strike rate yesterday. Got some good Premier League matches. Should be readable enough, but Man United blow hot and cold. Tottenham Hotspur should be eyeing an easy 3 points just before the international break. Fiorentina, one aberration recently after a huge run of wins. They only got a 2-1 midweek. I think it was in Europe, but they are or have been the form side in Europe. You can have a look at that, and it goes all the way back there. So really solid form ended against Apoel in the Champions League. Can they bounce back today? They're certainly priced to, that's for sure. So some good 2 o'clocks, and of course it's the last day of the Allsvenskan, so let's get busy with that as well. Can we dig out some plays? It's been very good, hasn't it, the last couple of days, finding very late goals. We got one last night, didn't we? But Landskrona didn't score it, and that cost them. That cost them relegation. But that pressure, I suppose, opened it up for the opponent to get the goal. Hi, Stephen. Hi, Mango. Thank you very much for that. Sound and vision okay. Appreciate that. So let's just work our way through the Allsvenskan now. Make sure we ignore all dead rubbers. So live standings are going to be very useful today. We'll go match by match. I think that's going to be the easiest method. We know where the standings are. No goals have been scored yet, so we don't need the live standings. Just need to know where these two are and if there's anything to play for. Well, certainly for AIK, it's a must-win today. They must win and hope Djurgården either draw or lose.
Goal. Circle Brugge Anderlecht is 0-4.
And Hamburg a bit too near the relegation zone for their liking as well. So that is a lay the draw if ever there was one. Hasn't kicked off just yet. Djurgården and Norrköping, I suspect this is still business to be done for Djurgården. I think they're top 3. Indeed, they just need to cement the place, don't they? They can't reach Hammarby. And we're switching to live standings now. They can't catch Hammarby. They've got to stave off AIK. They've got to equal or do better than AIK today. So it is must-win territory for them.
Goal. Fiorentina Verona is 1-0.
There's already a goal for back to winning ways today. Norrköping is safe. They're 4 points shy of the relegation zone. Nothing to worry about there. But Djurgården must equal or better AIK. Gets a star as well. Gaias and Sirius sound like these two are near the bottom. Let's have a quick look. No, Gaias is 6th. You add 3 onto that. That takes them to 49. They can't land a blow to the top 3. And Sirius, mid-table mediocrity for them. That is a dead rubber. We will not be playing that. Kalmar and Häcken. Let's have a look. Any motivation for these two? Häcken, mid-table mediocrity for them. Kalmar cannot break free. 28, 29, 30, 31. Look at the goal difference, -11. I think they are doomed, Mr. Mannering, to automatic relegation. While it's mathematically possible, They'll have to score a shed load of goals. I don't think it's doable, but we'll keep it on the watch list for Kalmar's sake. They might aim for the win today at the very least, and not even favourite today. So I think the market's suggesting they know their fate. Malmo and Bromma, I think Malmo are champions already. That's why they could afford a loss last week. Yet they can't be touched. Bromma, and they're safe as houses. We're not going to be tempted in for a last gasp goodbye from Malmo. It is a dead rubber. You saw yesterday's enticement ended 2-2, where these stats were all over the away side, but they had nothing to play for. Mjällby and Gothenburg. See, we're shortening the list now. Going to have a workable list of matches with motivation. So Mjällby and Gothenburg. Mjällby 48, 49, 50, 51. They are equal on points with Djurgården, equal on goal difference with Djurgården. They'll have to hope that this remains as is. I think all of these life standings might be a little, might be including the draw. So they're a little misleading. So let's have a look here. Mjällby and Gothenburg, 47, 48, 49, 50. Not really. So, but you just saw they could be equal on points. Or maybe not. No. Yes, they are. But Djurgården, they can't get to 51, can they? So I've got to get my Carol Vorderman maths right here. Gothenburg, plenty to play for them. So that gets the green light here. Plenty for Gothenburg. Mjällby, I don't think so. Värnamo and Elfsborg. Let's have a quick look at these two. Anything to motivate these two. We'll ignore the live standings because they include draws, points for every single team. Let's just go to the original. The Elf, 44 plus 3 is 47. They can't land a blow to the top three. Värnamo, a win for Värnamo today could catapult them out of the relegation playoff place, dependent on other results. So plenty for Värnamo to play for today. They do have home advantage against a side with little to motivate them. So that's huge motivating factor for the home side there. That's what we're looking for on the last day of the season. Västerås and Hammarby, the final match. Hammarby can't be caught and cannot catch Malmo. So their season is over. Västerås cannot get out of the bottom two. That's a dead rubber. So now we've got a workable shortlist. Don't know what's happening with AIK. And Halmstad, when it does start, I don't know what they're going to do because these have to be synchronicities, don't they? Really. So I don't know what's going on with AIK, how that's going to affect the performance there. So these are the matches I was looking at earlier on today. I was looking at possibly for Club Brugge equaliser, Cercle Brugge equaliser, but then we looked at 2.25, the favourite, and indeed that proved correct. Got to make sure we don't get tempted in. They were involved in Europe midweek as well, Cercle Brugge, Conference League away at Las Glint. So, as ever, got to be ever so cautious that we don't lose our money by trusting the wrong European side. Looking at Preußen Munster to possibly score first. They did start brighter, but it looks to be going the way of Karlsruhe. Preußen Munster newly promoted, I believe, into Bundesliga Zweite, so therefore target on their back, but goal already conceded. This is the local Sheffield derby. I did actually think on the in-play stats that Sheffield Wednesday, if there was to be a goal, but you know the deal with Sheffield United, it's either a 1-0 or a 2-0 these days for them. And it is a local derby. It's very tough. A couple of 2-0s, as you can see. They graduated from 1-0s earlier on in the season. It's a difficult one. It's a local derby. Probably best leave your powder dry unless you want a very, very late lay of the blades. You can bet, of course, that the Owls are going to be giving you 110%, covering every blade of grass. No shots on target, 9 off, 5 corners. It was a secondary stats. Had me initially interested. You can see they really went for it but then it's waned a little and the home side has taken over the momentum. That's waned at 1-0. Pack that defence and hold out for another 13 minutes. Hull did get a goal back. I was tempted to lay West Brom at 0-2, but where's that second goal going to come from Hull? But still, if you're looking for Hull to score, and you can see that huge zoom up the momentum, 87 attacking pressure index there. That's what got me interested, and we did indeed get that goal. But I didn't get it to you quick enough, I'm afraid. That would have been your in and out. You can't really trust Hull for 2 goals based on recent performances. Silkeborg and Randers, probable attack over 1.5 goals. We can have a look at that. Why not? It's the league for goals, certainly, the Super League. Well, let's have a look at the checklist. 2.5 plus at the top, 60%, 70%, 60%, 50%. That's okay. Looking at head-to-heads, well, the last 2 have seen 2 goals, haven't they? Only one aberration in 2023. That was a 1-0. But last time they had a 0-0 at half-time. There was 2 goals for Silkeborg second half. Recent matches, 2 consecutive over 2.5 goals for Silkeborg. And we have to just scroll down, have a quick look at Randers. Well, 2 emphatic over 2.5 goals, and matches with the type of scoring that suggests overs as well. 2 goals at least is what you look for, isn't it? At the right time. So possibilities here. If you think there's going to be at least a goal in a match where you expected overs, we'll have a quick look. Randers and Silkeborg.
Goal. FC Twente Ajax is 1-0.
That's the low. Twente Ajax. It's another difficult one to unpack. It's not a derby, it's a derby style match. Means it's tough to unpack. It's the equivalent of your Arsenal, Tottenham's, that kind of thing. Not geographical derby, but still it's a difficult one. So the draw is currently 2.46. Randers and Silkeborg looking at 1.5 goals, should be comfortably over evens. Just look at the drift. Is it a reasonable drift? So let's have a look at that. Boom. 1.25 goals were expected in a league of goals. So don't forget, this is
goal. LYNGBY is 1-1.
But let's look at the drop down. If we can get a goal scored in a reasonable amount of time. Because don't forget, with over 1.5 goals, you're itching for just 2 goals or 1 goal scored at the right time. With 2.5 goals, you're still clutching for that second goal to really impact on the odds movement. So we'll keep an eye on that. It's really good value, isn't it? Just for 1 goal to be captured at the right time. And we're in the right league at the very least. 7 corners. Not really come alive second half just yet. That's the negative there. 14 shots off target between them, but still not come alive just yet. We'll remain hopeful. 10 minutes in, so we'll keep an eye on that one. Should stay honest, the 1.5 goal price, shouldn't it? Because you're on the cusp of, well, you're half the way there as soon as we get a goal scored. So let's see how quickly that goal can come, if it does. We've already got that 1-1 in the Super League. 2.5 the favourite. AAB looked like they deserved an equaliser, but it's a difficult match to trust. 2.5 the favourite. 1 shot on 8 off and 5 corners. A whole raft of draws as well between this lot. Real Betis didn't trust them to get the equaliser earlier on. It's just, well, based on recent matches, take away the Conference League, the 1-0 against Atletico Madrid. Well, you have to include the Conference League recent home matches. 1 goal scored, 1 goal scored, 1 goal scored against in the Copa del Rey. They scored 6, and against Sedgler, who are weak opponents, they scored 2. It's just struggled to see whether they could get that second goal, and it looked as if they've come alive. So, not quite rock hard favourites at 2.15, but that draw might be vulnerable second half. Win, draw, win, albeit one of them in the Copa del Rey, but 2 of them home wins, one of them in the Conference League against weaker opponent. The last two head-to-heads have seen over 2.5 goals, and Real Betis in the last head-to-head in April, the scoreline was 2-1 full time. So keep an eye on them. They have been a good side, Betis, this season. We'll look on that with interest. Last Glints are coming alive. One shot on 5 off 3 corners. We had all of this yet.
Goal.
Secondary
OFI
stats.
Crete Athens Kalathea is 1-0.
I believe. Let me just get my. Have I done all of my 2.5 goals? I think I have from this.
Goal.
Performed well
OFI
yesterday.
Crete Athens Kalathea is 1-0.
Let's get on board. So keep an eye on the overs. Chelsea and Arsenal apparently overs today, but it is a local derby, and it's also a nervy one for Arsenal. They're going through that Manchester City problem. Betis, Celta Vigo, Real Valladolid. So let's have a look at that one. Lille scored first against Nice. Spain.
Goal.
Betis.
Nice Lille is 0-1.
Okay, 2 goals already. Valladolid, Atletico Bilbao.
Goal.
Day,
Nice Lille is 0-1.
Atletico.
Goal.
Looking forward to that.
LYNGB YOB is 1-2.
Barcelona rarely underperformed. Galatasaray odds on favourites have just
Goal. Nice Lille is 0-1.
So plenty. Stuttgart on the overs list in an overs league, which is good. Hoffenheim, well, I've had a recent failure to score, but that's a rarity. And already in France, one of the over 2.5 goal matches. Didn't get there in time for that post 15-minute play, but I'll try it with some of these today. We need to see the Achilles heels as well as the positives. We saw the positives for the last 2 weeks, but we haven't seen the Achilles heel, which is no goal coming in the first half. But Paul gave some good ideas that we can use the first half goals market to investigate that. Right. So we haven't got that goal yet, Silkeborg and Randers. As you can see, it's depreciating very slowly, which is a positive for this 1.5 goal play as well. You're going to get a good run for your money. As long as we get a goal by the 70th minute, if the underdog scores it, it's even better because you can guarantee a break even or a small profit as long as they deliver. Hope you're all okay. Afternoon, Sean and Stephen, nice to see you. Go back. 10 shots off target for the Owls. Do you fancy a late swoop on the Blades? Up to you if you fancy
Goal.
it. It is a local
Man
derby.
UTD Leicester is 1-0.
But you're going to get very odds indeed if you fancy that late lay of Sheffield United, who have had a couple of 2-0s recently, so they might scoop
Goal.
winner.
Man UTD Leicester is 1-0.
I'm not sure I can goal. I haven't seen it in recent matches. That the angle in was 0-2 to 1-2, I think.
Goal.
Shots on
Fiorentina
target.
Verona is 1-1.
So we'll keep an eye on that. Loss currently. This is more like it. That's what you're looking for in the Superliga. We're looking at the possibility of Betis dominating this match today. 3 wins in 4, albeit 1 in the Copa del Rey, 1 in the Conference League against poor opponents. But they did get a 2-1 win against Celta Vigo last home head-to-head. They have come from behind in this one. Those stats you're seeing there are primarily first half, so just wait for them to wake up second half. No shots on target yet in the second half, but it looks good. If this dominance can continue, we might get a late lay the draw or a late back of Real Betis. Las Glints are dominating against Altac, not favoured really, 2.1. So we keep an eye on that one. A couple of draws. It could be targetable. A 0-0 last match and a 1-1. You saw West Brom yesterday. Was it yesterday? Whole raft of 0-0s, and that ended emphatically with them. That's why I like to look at that 0. Red Bull Salzburg are probably still in hangover mode, post-Europe, pre-international. You can see a couple of 0-0s. That's what we were concerned about. Champions League, as you can see. So there's no coincidence that 0-0. And we were very, very cautious. We lost about £3 on that one. And that was against 10 men as well. So that, I think the one against Wolfsberger was against 10 men. So that tells you everything about the influence of this early round Champions League with so many high profile in the season. It's killing off these big boys. Manchester City, 4 consecutive defeats now. Salzburg, a couple of 0-0s, very unlike them. So can't be trusted at the moment until they start lighting this up. Twente and Ajax, it could go either way this. It's a derby-style match. But Ajax are on a run and that beating of PSV, I think, is very appealing to me, suggesting there is a possibility that they could be competitive against Twente. But both sides are coming off the back of Europa League matches. Is that going to impact them? It's going to impact them equally, though. It must be.
Goal. Nottingham Forest Newcastle is 1-0.
Right, good luck with that. Getting past that Forest side, I don't think I'll be taking on a Nottingham Forest 1-0 lead just at the moment. But certainly Newcastle have the forward line. There's an argument here that we could take on this Twente lead, but you will be warned that these are derby-style matches. We could as easily see a 2-0 for Twente as a 1-1 for Ajax. But it's certainly one to look at. It's half-time at the moment, so no need to rush in. It's just that PSV result really catches my eye, because that's another
goal. Nottingham Forest Newcastle is 1-0.
We keep an eye on the but Nottingham Forest are going to be a tough nut to crack. Probably Chris Wood again, I don't doubt. Not odds-on favourite today, you'll see. Poison Monster, late equaliser. Wasn't expecting that. Not odds-on Nottingham Forest. That's why they're not on this list here, I don't think. No. But they're going to be a tough nut to crack. Let's have a look at the opening goal. Probably Chris Wood. I wouldn't doubt. Man United scored first as well. Put them to ease a bit. No, Murillo, so be careful. Chris Wood has not scored yet. We might see a second Nottingham Forest goal today. Chris Wood is scoring for fun. Simple as that. You look at his recent performance. Wood scoring the opener there. And he just keeps scoring in each match. So watch out for a potential second for Nottingham Forest today. But I wouldn't be taking on that lead unless Newcastle absolutely ignite those in-play stats. It was one of those 2.63, the favourite match. The market couldn't pick a winner because they can't discount this Nottingham Forest in this kind of form and with that kind of a defence. The big one in Polish Ekstraklasa, a bit like Twente Ajax, Jagiellonian Białystok and Rakow, top 3 clash. It's another derby-style match. Could be possible low-risk lay of Rakow, particularly with those 6 shots on target for Jagiellonia. I don't think they deserve to be. There deserves to be a favourite in this one. It's a top 3 clash. Recent champions as well. So it could be tighter, certainly, than the market suggests. We might get some value out of that. So keep an eye on developing stats for Jagiellonia. And if they catch you home at the moment, Forest going to be a tough nut to crack. Simple as that. Their opponents are very rarely going to be scoring that second goal. Newcastle, brilliant result against Arsenal. That's going to give them a huge belief that they can beat anybody. But a bit ropey on the road, a 2-1 loss to Chelsea and a 0-0 against Everton. You'll note that Everton are a very defensive side, a bit like Nottingham Forest. So Newcastle might not be meeting the side to get the most out of their centre forwards. So we will look on that with interest. We've got Djurgården and Norrköping. We've got to keep an eye on the developments in the Allsvenskan, but more so in not get too carried away with first half action. What we want is to see panic stations, extreme time pressure, the need to score. Otherwise, your season is going to go up in flames, like Landskrona yesterday. Failed to score that winner, but we still got that lay the draw. They probably left the whole forward line. Well, didn't leave a defence. The keeper went up for a corner, got caught out, that kind of thing. But it's that need for a goal that can produce those blunders. That's what we're looking at last day of the season. So we'll keep an eye on the Allsvenskan, more so in the second half. So Newcastle are waking up. I'm not too keen on taking on Forest, but there might be value in taking on Forest in the half-time market if you see Newcastle's form starting to, or shots on, shots off in corner starting to develop. You can have a play in the half-time market at lower liability and still have 1 foot in the door. Fiorentina 1-1 against Verona, so still just a worrying for Fiorentina, that winning sequence coming to an end midweek. Failed to score that second goal.
Real Betis Celta Vigo is 1-2.
There, that could be a possible angle. I was a bit 2-goal scoring form paper, doesn't it? But Celje are no great shakes, and Javora are a low league side in the Copa del Rey. They're in scoring 1 goal maximum. You've got 5 goals for Celta Vigo against San Pedro. Again, Copa del Rey, but they tend to concede a couple of goals as well. So we might have a play here if we can trust Real Betis, but they haven't turned up second half, as you can see. Only the 2 shots off target, 3 shots off target. Have a look at the Celta goal. Maybe it's an undeserved lead, starting to warm up nicely for our matches of importance. And AIK has started. I don't know how this is going to impact these two. Maybe with these results ending, these two might not need to do anything, but we will see. It's a bit of an aberration on the last day of the season. But let's just we'll keep an eye on them. Go back. So where were we? I've just lost my train of thought again. Fiorentina and Verona, yeah. Possibility of laying that draw. They don't have draws, these two, as you can see recently, but I would look to target that draw later on. Newcastle are coming alive, aren't they? It's very difficult to take on Nottingham Forest, but when you've just got a 1-0 win against, then there is possibilities, isn't there? We still haven't got that goal, Silkeborg Randers. So we have to think of an exit. Do we exit at half stakers liability loss? Or do we leave this knowing that the next one to come along that comes in will amply cover any loss? So it's one to keep an eye on. And we've got to get a couple of over 2.5 goal matches involved as well, don't we? And we just got to get those ones trialing. So Betis and Celta Vigo, are we going to get involved? I needed to have a look at that Celta goal, didn't I? So I was losing my train of thought there. Because it's against the run of play. So, it looks like it's disallowed. So it's 1-1. Okay, so maybe there's an issue.
This market has been sended.
Okay, good.
Silkeborg Randers FC is 1-0.
Well, we've got the goal. Let's have a look at the impact of that now for Silkeborg. Has it come at the right time? How much has it impacted? And there we go. Even this late on. This is why this appeals to me so much from a neutral perspective. This is the 71st minute. I did tell you, if we can get the 70th minute or thereabouts, we're going to come out unscathed. Just got to get this to tighten up. And we can see we're getting a green. You get a bigger
goal.
The goal is
Silkeborg Randers FC is 1-0.
But here, it's better than a £40 loss. So we can come out unscathed with a 70th minute goal. There's still 20 minutes to go. You might want to stay in. It's definitely an option as well, isn't it? Just wait for this to tighten up. You can see we're getting at least to double figures. But if we can keep picking these up, we picked up a couple of 10 quids before half time and a 24. So that was 44 quid just from the Bundesliga. And 2 of those matches didn't even finish over 2.5 goals. So powerful stuff. The first half there, that's more like it. 15 quid. So it's even Stevens now. Do you want to stay in or do you want to take the green? So don't forget, in markets like this, wait for it to settle down. Otherwise, you saw me the other week, didn't you? I laid an insurance play at huge odds because I was in an illiquid market and I got caught out where it was 1.16 and I got 1.71. So I'm out of that just with that 1 goal. Really good, isn't it? Single goal. And it's even come, well, it's come for the home side. If it came for the away side, I think you'd get an even better return. No Celta Vigo second goal.
Goal. Slaven Belupo and K Varaždin is 0-1.
Slaven Belupo, Croatian league. Last Glint's possibilities second half, a draw sequence to end, a 0-0 sequence to end. Do you trust them? That was in the Conference League, mind you. So the Knights.
Goal. OFI Crete Athens Kalathea is 2-0.
Last Glint's. Red Bull Salzburg, well, you've seen those recent raft of 0-0s there and there. It epitomises the problem we've been facing since this new formed Champions League has come aboard. Fatigue for these teams. There's too much. You've got huge Champions League matches, and then you've got to perform in the league with 2 0-0s are telling you. Aston Villa, Arsenal, Man City are telling you. Liverpool's surviving it somehow. So Salzburg, we need some really emphatic in-play stats, I'm afraid, to take that 0-0 on. There is possibilities to take on Twente, but it will. This one, because it's a derby-style match, and they can threaten a second goal.
Slaven Belupo and K Varaždin is 0-1.
So I can talk you through it, but it comes with warnings.
Goal. Tottenham Ipswich is 0-1.
And we've got a Tottenham Ipswich 0-1. Don't forget, Ipswich scored first against Man City, didn't they, before half-time? And Man City got the job done by the first half. So possibilities here for an attack on Ipswich. Have a look at the Tottenham team as well. Ange might have fielded a weaker side, thinking they could rest a few and maybe to oblige an international manager or two, particularly Richarlison.
Goal.
American.
FC Blau-Weißlands FC Salzburg is 1-0.
So we'll keep it. And it's 1-0 against Red Bull Salzburg. So that gives us a headache. We've just seen those 2 0-0s for Salzburg. Can we trust them to score? Can we do an insurance play? I'll just take you through this one. The ideal here would be both teams to score, no. But I'll go the usual route. And this is a derby-style match. And if this doesn't come in, I will remind you why I don't tend to play derby-style matches. Okay? So you have been warned. I'm pinning my hopes on this 3-2 Ajax-PSV, showing that Ajax can battle in these derby-style matches. Ajax +1, if it's significantly bigger than this, I think I will just stop there. I would think it could be because it's a derby-style match. They are away from home. Probably over 2s. Yeah. So I'll give this a go. And that warns you as well. It's going to be a risky play. Okay. So I don't tend to play derby-style matches, but we'll see. Is that 3-2 against PSV going to prove that Ajax have what it takes in these derby-style Dutch matches against the big boys? Keeping an eye on Jagiellonian, as you can see, they're starting to make the right noises. As I say, I would ignore the pre-match odds here. It's a top 3 clash, recent champions as well in their respective seasons, so watch out there. Well, if you fancy taking on Man United, and don't we all? Remember that Porto debacle, the loss at West Ham. There's still, well, you can see that fight from Leicester City, can't you? The value here would be in the half-time market to take on Man United in the half-time market. I don't know if you could trust a newly promoted side at Old Trafford. Well, let's have a look. It's good pressure from Leicester. They do have a good Jamie Vardy, if he's playing. Half-time market will give you a foot in the door, and it's not going to cost you much to find out either. There we go, 1.1. So for every quid you put on, you potentially win a tenner. Well worth a go, given those recent sets of shots on target for Leicester City, all coming in a tight cluster, which is really good pressure. And you can see it's a very, very low liability lay in the half-time market. I'd rather play that than the match odds market, getting a far better value lay. If they can keep that pressure up, then things will look good. Real Betis got that first shot on target, 11 shots off. It's really good pressure, isn't it? Do you trust them to get that second goal? That's the question. We can have a look at their recent goal scoring. And this is something you can start doing at this stage of the season because we've got 10 plus matches under our belts. So let's have a quick. We can start seeing developing patterns, particularly Betis at home. I think they've had some late wins, unless I'm mistaken. The stats will certainly correct me. So we'll work our way down, all the way down to the very bottom. You can have a look at the goal times table. Have a look at the challenge table as well, because it's developing with every match. You can see patterns emerging. Question mark about performances against mid-table. Where's that second goal? Celta Vigo a 10th. Celta against the top 7, top 6 tend to concede that third goal away from home. Does that extend to 7th? You can see these patterns developing, can't you? What are you going to think when Celta play against any of this lot, home or away? You're going to be thinking win, aren't you? Similar story for Betis against 14th and lower. You're going to think comfortable win. Highly unlikely to concede that second goal at home. You can see all developing in the challenge table with each week. And you can, this is the quickest way for you to do research, basically, the challenge table. To work our way down, any late goal scoring from Real Betis, can we target that draw? Well, 3 out of 5 late goals post 60th minute, and more importantly, Celta Vigo conceding 4 goals in the 76th to 90th minute. Where are we now? 77th. We're in that zone. So get the match up and see whether Celta, who are at the most vulnerable at the end of the match, and Betis scored 5 goals post 61st minute. So that's probably got them out of jail a few times, hasn't it, Real Betis? So we'll just get that one up. The draw is at 1.7. It's still a little bit high for me. But this is the time period, 75 to 90, when we start seeing Betis scoring and Celta Vigo conceding. Certainly knocking on that door, aren't they? 5 shots on 10 off. So watch out. It's a possibility of Real Betis getting a winner here. If you're not too scared about laying at odds on like that, by all means, get involved. 13 minutes plus extra time. And you've got a totally dominant starting to wake up post 70th minute. That's probably going to coincide with a substitute for Betis. That's how these things tend to work. Well, 55th minute, okay, 75th minute. So Fornals coming off. So they're having a go. Do you trust it? So we'll keep an eye on that draw. I want to get as short as possible, of course. Now, if you
this market has been suspended
to 1.25, but I can do everything now before I forget. So start at 1.25 to win 10 quid. Move down 1.19. They'll be doing in Sweden to capture these late goals. We're going to be drip laying.
Goal.
Works very well.
Man UTD Leicester is 2-0.
Man United job done against. You saw that very low risk lay in the halftime market. That's why, because we were trusting a newly promoted side. 1.09. This is where you make your big money when you get some late goals. I can put a £23 stake here. It's only a £2 liability. And then 1.06. That's where you make your big dough. 32 quid, because that keeps your liability under 2 quid. Once that 32 comes up, £1.92. That's all set. Probably, I would expect the goal could come earlier with this concerted pressure, but it's settled down a little bit. I'm going to make sure I'm involved very, very late on if this 1-1 continues. We just do have that little question mark about Betis's 2-goal scoring pattern. It's not really delivering in La Liga recently, albeit they've been playing some high-profile and solid units like Bilbao and Atletico Madrid. Second half is beginning. Altac and Lask Linz. I draw your attention to the shots off target and corners. if you fancy a tilt at the draw there. You'll need Lask Linz to score first. Got a 0-0 last match. Do you want to take that on? That was in the Conference League, though, in Europa Conference League. So Altak, a recent 1-0 defeat, but 0-0 at half-time. A couple of occasions they've conceded 2 goals, albeit away from home. So there is hope, but it's nothing to get too carried away with. And the fatigue that Red Bull Salzburg are experiencing with this Champions League and having to fight on both fronts week in, week out, something is going to give. It looks an obvious play with Blau-Weiß Linz, newly promoted, I believe, and 3 consecutive 2-1 defeats. But you need Salzburg to wake up from their slumber. That said, with those 0-0s, they didn't concede. So there is an option to take on Red Bull Salzburg at nearly 4-1. But you've got to cover that insurance, of course, because they are, as I keep telling you, these Champions League sides turn into pub sides, Sunday pub sides, when we get any involvement in Europe or any international outcome. These players don't want to get injured. They want to play for their country. So this is how I would look at this one. But do be prepared to lose, because they have trouble scoring. Don't forget Red Bull. Those couple of 0-0s recently really stand out, both against weak opponents in this Bundesliga. So you've got to cover that 1-0 scoreline, which is covered by under 1.5 goals, which covers 0-0, 1-0, 0-1. So that's covered. Now that's your stake, £39.20, £19.60. But I'll just keep that to a standard 20 there. It's negligible. And this is difficult because, you know, Red Bull Salzburg having trouble scoring. So +1 would cover the draw, but it's going to be very skinny. It'll be, well, 2.12. That's tempting. That could be very tempting. Given the problems. No, I would normally go match odds with a 1.53 shot like Red Bull Salzburg. But where is that second goal in the Bundesliga recently? I might just do this. Why not? Let's have a go. So you split your stake into 2. If they can get a goal early enough, they don't look like they've turned up though. They're fast asleep, Red Bull. So you are sitting on a potential.
Real Betis Celta Vigo is 1-2. Goal.
Oh,
Tottenham Ipswich is 0-2.
There's that goal in the bet, and it's gone to Celta Vigo. But it's probably come far too early to impact. Let's have a look. Got to wait for this to be matched. So it's going to be an excellent return, isn't it, if we can get that goal from Red Bull Salzburg. But the market's not confident at all. They're not turning up. I think they want their international break holidays. A wonderful result, it must be said, against Feyenoord. They kept all their goals for Feyenoord. They're probably all scored out now, but there's still 30 minutes to go. This goes against all logic.
This market has been suspended.
But we've got a suspended market. That would be of interest. Betis and Celta Vigo. So let's have a look at that one. You would be looking at the possibility of a Real Betis equaliser late on, wouldn't you? Celta, well, have we got the first goal? Let's have a look. Has it gone to Salzburg? Or have we been punished? Looks like we've been punished with a second Blau-Weiß Linz goal. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why I didn't pass that one on to Telegram. We're walking a tightrope. I think this is going to be 2-0. That's what the odds look like, unless it's a red card. Tottenham and Ipswich, let's head on over there. It looks like we've been given an early Christmas gift. Wow. So all that distraction. I'll have to play regardless of what the stats are saying, as long as there's no red card.
Goal.
That one.
FC Blau-Weiß Linz FC Salzburg is 2-0.
2-0. I'm a glutton for punishment. Do be warned. I've given you ample warning. Highly unlikely to come off this. But we will see. So just a little bit on there. And if we can get that goal from Red Bull Salzburg now, the averaging will ensure that £30 is not going to be the loss. If we can get that 1-2 early enough, that's going to get that 25 moving. So let's head on over to Tottenham because they are 0-2 down to Ipswich Town. Again, is this Tottenham resting too many international stars from South America? Is that going to knock them off kilter? It's 2-0. We can't really do insurance because if you do insurance, you have to cover the 2-0 and the 2-1. It's doable. I can show you through, but I doubt this will end 2-0. So you'd be laying over 2.5 goals to cover the 2-0. 0-2 for Ipswich. I'd have to cover the 1-2, which will be, I think, pretty big odds. So we shouldn't be worried. Very low liability, about 3-4 quid. Heading off to the correct score market. So this is the insurance. Normally do insurance on the 0-2, but I could show you. So hopefully this will come up. Correct score 1-2 for Ipswich. It's a bit. We want that covered because then we can do an assault on the match odds. So I just need this to turn into 40. So I'm looking to win 40 quid here. You could reduce that to 30 or 25.
Goal. FC20 Ajax is 1-1.
There we go. Pfizer. So those of you attending the live stream, if you followed that one, we're up and running. So now we can go straight to the match odds. I haven't looked at the stats, so I'm doing this blind, but I remember the Man City match, and you're getting decent odds for the Spuds, aren't you? 4.5 at home to a newly promoted side.
Goal.
So
FC20 Ajax is 1-1.
we'll see how this. But you've seen them dropping down like flies, these big boys, haven't you, recently? So I'm just hoping I've got all bases covered. It'll be a difficult ask or a stretch of the imagination to think 0-3. But I suspect there's a few rested players in the Spuds today, all pre-international duty. But it's a very nice reward if Tottenham can come back. What this amount on the draw is doing is enticing you to stay in.
This market has been suspended.
Enticing you to stay in. So I've got to bring the stats up because it's absolute mayhem. So let's get that one up. I'm going to have a look at Serie B as well. So England Premier League. Let's have a look. Maybe have I got it listed at the top here? No, there it is. Tottenham Ipswich 0-2. Well, it's very quiet.
Goal.
Good defensive display.
FC20 Ajax is 1-1.
And there's the Ajax 1-1. So just manage your position there. 4 shots off target. Very quiet. So a good defensive display so far from it in their goal scoring. And don't forget the second half. We'll start looking at this lot in the Allsvenskan. So, or not, let's have a quick look. No, from open play. So this is a simple matter for telegrammers of Tottenham and laying Ipswich. So I'll pass that one on. Haven't checked the Tottenham team news. I suspect that there might be some changes just to knock them off kilter. But I might be wrong. There's so many internationals. Son, Solanke, Johnson, that's a new name. Udogi, Dragusin, Romero and Porro. I don't recall that back four being hugely recognisable. Cow's Arse with a banjo is on the bench. Maddison, he can change the game. These are a few internationals. Injuries, any injury concerns? Richarlison, a big miss in a match of this stature, I think. He would be your go-to man 60th minute, I think, if Solanke and Son Heung-min don't oblige. We're in a good position. It'll be a big stretch to expect a third goal from Ipswich, but these things do happen.
This market has been suspended.
The reasoning behind their recent headache. Yeah, Galatasaray in the road. 2 loss as well. So that's why they're underperforming. They're full of international players as well. They've got a target on their back. Vulnerability. How's the manager going to juggle all of this successfully? But I'll pass it on. It's a risky one because we could get done, couldn't we? This is the weekend where these sides chock full of international players will get done. And so far, Ipswich are doing a fine job. Oh, okay. Tottenham will give us a run for our money. Albeit Tottenham post-Europe and pre-international. And no Richarlison. But Ipswich are newly promoted. That's the key. Lack of belief. Hopefully Tottenham make the right changes. Maybe Solanke and Son turning out what I would have preferred Richarlison myself. Silkeborg being producing a profit. Fantastic, isn't it? And so late as well. Just one goal is all you need for that strategy. A possibility to Vigo late on, but it looks as if Real Betis are starting to just flounder a little. But these are low odds. They were the dominant force, but I did warn you about that problem, scoring that second goal for Real Betis. But when you lay the draw, you know as well as I do, it's neutral. Doesn't matter who scores. You will clean up. That's what I love about the neutral markets. Laying the draws late on. We saw that in the Super Ettin yesterday, with the team who needed to win didn't score to end the draw. Oh, we've just lost. Goodness me, getting more like Joe Biden every week. Betis and Celta Vigo. Celta's odds low enough to have a little tickle. And what you can do here to really lower your liability, let's get involved. 109 and 106. Oh, they're probably already. No, that's to lay the draw at 109, 106. We're laying Celta Vigo at 1.09 to win 23 quid. And we're going to lay Celta Vigo again at 1.06 to win 32 quid. So very, very small liability. We've got a possibility if Real Betis can manage to get that second goal, which they deserve, but which their recent performance.
Goal.
Get
FC 20 Ajax is 2-1.
2-1. I did warn you that second goal for 20. So I didn't cash out of that 20. I explained. Oh.
This market has been suspended.
109. You can see the big risk reward. It's excellent, isn't it? Choose the right matches. Is there a red card? Is there a pen? 12.
Goal. SCR Alta Clask Lens is 1-0.
Have we got any late action here? I'd like to see a red dot when we get a suspended market late on. Commentary will tell us if there's a pen. Probably because maybe the extra time. Just factoring that into the prices. I don't know. Big chance. Victor Roque. Whisker wide of the right post. That was probably our shot at a 2-2 right there. Oh, and it was excited the Betfair bloke as well, didn't it? The suspend man. He thought that was in. So it's very low risk. 109, 106. And we'll capture any late goal, and it's not worry money at all. We can leave this completely now. We don't even need to know the final result because it's not worry money. Be nice to see a boost in the bank afterwards. 20 and Ix, I did warn you. It's Chuckle Brothers, to me, to you, to me.
This market has been suspended.
Hopefully we go 2 here. So you might want to factor that in as your next step. It will cover the next team to
Goal. FC 20 Ajax is 2-2.
This is your typical derby style match, and it's going the way of that 3-2 as I see. So I wanted to get involved in that 3-2-2-3, but that's probably doing it a different minutes to go. Twente and Ajax. So let's have a look at my position there. Something has happened here. Oh no, we've got £12 on the draw.
Goal. FC 20 Ajax is 2-2.
To make it 2-2. Wow. I haven't heard of that goal. I haven't heard it come in. There it is. There it is. Lovely. Jubbly. Did I put this forward to Telegram? Oh no, it's Ipswich and Tottenham. What a pity. Well, they should have turned up at the live stream. Lovely jubbly. Now you're in a beautiful position. Your quid's in. Don't take that green screen. That's ridiculous. £16. 12 quid is adequate with a chance of 105 on Betis, 81 on Celta Vigo. I told you late goal action. And this part of the season is when the relied upon late goal action here. Late goal action here. Look at this. Where are their goals being scored if they are scored away? 76 to 90th minute. Just had added another to the roster. Again, 76 to 90th minute. Scored again, 61st to 90th minute. So look for these goal times as giving you potential low risk entry points. 75th minute was clear, wasn't it, for late goals? Fantastic stuff. Now we're in a beautiful position. You can sit back, pipe and slippers. Either of these two score, it's Merry Christmas. So fantastic stuff. Waiting patiently. And we've still got these, I think those draw ones involved. We can cancel all unmatched bets. Sit back. If it ends 2-2, we're out of it with the possibility.
This market has been
Oh,
suspended.
we've still got in, or is that the end of the match? Normally 1.04, you're given it a little bit more time, perhaps a corner, but it looks like that's the end of the match. Very well played match with the opportunity to win big. We want to come out without a loss, but with the chance of 3 figures. Great performance. Now they're coming alive. So I'm going to put that forward to Telegrammers because you're going to get very, very short odds indeed. So let's have a look at that. We know, don't we, Salzburg are wobbling. Man City wobbling. Arsenal wobbling. All down to this Champions League. But you're getting very low odds. And I'm going to have to encourage them. I can't show them a screenshot, but Lay, Blau, Weiss, Linz. Blau, Weiss, Linz, and back Salzburg. Salzburg poor recently because of Champions League influence. But really good value play. Plenty of time to score. Here we go. So you can see that, can't you? And it's even worth. Just in case we can get that 1-2 at a decent enough time. You were pre-warned about this, weren't you, Salzburg? They are clearly struggling with this Champions League, quite clearly. And you're never going to see 4 consecutive defeats for Pep Guardiola ever again. So that was a unique feat this weekend for him. We did lay against it, but we didn't get the late equaliser. So if we can get that 2-1, that 41 is going to be a lot lower. And you'll have an opportunity to bail out if you feel that you're too trusting of a struggling Champions League side, who are the better side by a country mile. But yet another Bundesliga match without a shot on target. So you have been pre-warned. Ajax and Twente. Let's have a look at that one. Have we had a look to see how the positions lay. That's why that 3-2-2-3 would have been an appealing next play while Twente were leading, because it picks up the next goal scorer as well. So let's have a look. We went +1, didn't we, for Ajax? At decent odds, it must be said, 2.3 plus. And that in itself is a reasonable return at this stage in a derby-style match, isn't it? The insurance, I can't remember how much that was because it's disappeared now. But you're walking a tightrope here. You could as equally get a next goal for Twente as Ajax. As I said to you, I'm pinning my hopes on this being like the 3-2 Ajax win against PSV. But this, for me, is a nice enough green. In a match we really shouldn't be playing because it's a derby-style match. So take your winnings, particularly when they were 2-1 down. You'd have been cursing me. So that's a decent enough green there. Probably going to be a late winner, I would suspect, heading towards Ajax, but 13 shots off target for Twente. It could be a good Desmond one, this 1.25 or lower. Another derby style in yet to take on Raquel. Gone a little lukewarm, Jagiellonia, as the second half begins, and I started to warm up, see a change in momentum for the away side. Match to target, is it really? Derby style, Champions League woes. So keep your liability low. Fiorentina post Europa League hiccup today, potentially. Tottenham post European fatigue, pre-international fatigue. Richarlison, I doubt Richarlison has an injury, to be honest. I think that's a way to get him rested for international duty. That's my X file there. Probably does have a hip injury. There we go. So you can have a look at the lineups. Just missing your key. He's your go-to man by a country mile. Timo Werner, couldn't trust him to score you any goals. So they'll be looking, I think, to sticking with the same side for a bit longer. Son, Solanke, Bentancur, Kulusevski's been on the score sheet recently as well. But you shouldn't be losing to a newly promoted side. But this is the time to lose if you are going to be losing this particular time. Let's have a look at Sweden, even though it's a little early. How are things progressing in the live standings? We've got a red card for Halmstad that's come alive, and it's caught up. Probably because it's these have been delayed, have they? Perhaps? I'm not sure. But let's have a look at how all of these scorelines have changed the complexion so far. So Hammarby can still be caught by AIK, but that's academic. Djurgården, that's the maximum amount of points that Djurgården can get is 53 because they're winning. AIK look very comfortable, so that's Djurgården. I think their season is going to peter out. They are safe, so that 0-0 for Hammarby is academic as well. Mjällby doing the best they can. Similar story for Gayas. You'd have needed AIK to either draw to drop 2 points to get Mjällby and Djurgården back interested. So watch out if it becomes 3-2 for AIK. We might suddenly see some action from Djurgården and Mjällby. At the bottom here, Västerås are done. Kalmar, this is the best they can do because they're already leading. So you can tell they're done. That means Värnamo must win to give them a tilt at staving off the relegation playoff place. So it's still to play for Värnamo at 0-0. Gothenburg are losing 0-1. It's not out of the realms of possibility because they're on 31 points and they're losing. So they just need a draw. They need to equal or better Värnamo, but the goal difference is identical. So it must be on head-to-heads that Värnamo are where they are. So Värnamo get a win. They're up to 34. That's with an additional point. So they were originally 30, weren't they? got to do a bit of Carol Vorderman maths here. So as things stand, a win will take them to 33 and safe. If Gothenburg draw, that will bring them to 32 and just above Varnamo as things stand. So the Gothenburg match still has plenty of life left in it. They are a goal down. They must equalise. So we'll be looking at targeting Mjällby late on. Varnamo and the Elf at 0-0. I think, do we need goals? Yes, we do for Varnamo, don't we? Ideally. So that's one. Perhaps target that 0-0 as late as possible as well. It's in their hands if they can score. AIK and Halmstad. Let's have a look at these two. Heading into the second half. AIK are the best they can do. If they keep this scoreline, they've done what they need to do. They've got a tilt at a European place. Halmstad, well, they're fine on 33. They can't be caught. Well, they can be caught if Gothenburg win. So still a little bit for Halmstad to play for. They've got a goal to cling on to, but the red card. So I think their season is done. That's good news for this lot. If Gothenburg can turn this around and if Varnamo could score. So we've got a bit of action second half to look forward to for these two. Definitely. Djurgården are doing what they need to do. AIK, solid lead against 10 men. That's season done, I believe. Kalmar and Häcken, I think that's job done as well, is it? Let's have a quick look. Kalmar and Häcken. Yeah, it's job done, isn't it? It's best Kalmar can do. So Häcken, no, we can get rid of that, I think. If that's the best that Kalmar can do, then they're relegated, aren't they? So we say bye-bye to that. We've got 4 left to approach late on in the second half. Make sure we get that time pressure to work for us. You must score. There's 5 minutes left. We've had 3 out of 3 coming in very, very late. So it's a really good technique for the end of the season. You know they're going for it. They've got to. They've got no alternative. They can't sit back and take a draw. Got to get the win. Newcastle have warmed up nicely, haven't they? Do you trust them today? It's very difficult to take on this Forest side. But Newcastle, 2 shots on 5 off from 4 corners. It's still very good defensive display from Nottingham Forest, you'd have to say. Keeping them very quiet indeed so far. I'm not too keen on taking on a Forest lead. That's just my personal perspective. Not too clear how to play it. Play the matches you can read. If I can't read this one, I don't have enough confidence to take on a Forest lead, even with that one covering the 1-0. That might be a little concerning given they have managed to score 3 against West Ham, 3 against Leicester. Lower tier sides compared to Newcastle, it must be said. But just based on that single match itself against Arsenal, the belief surely would count for something. But
This market has been suspended.
away, they're a bit poor, aren't they? No winning 3 away, failing to score that second goal. So it might not be a match to take Nottingham Forest on, particularly in their current form. And with Chris Wood yet to play. We've got a goal back for the Spuds. Nice and early. We're going to start seeing some beautiful greens emerging. If that converts into a goal.
Goal.
Yeah.
Tottenham Ipswich is 1-2.
That's what we expect. This, I think, is going to be one of the early Christmas gifts. So well worth the wait today. The Spuds are up and running. This is your first cash out opportunity in the Tottenham match. So let's have a look at that one. Your first cash out. Tottenham and Ipswich. So I've got the 1-2
Goal.
to cash
Tottenham
out.
Ipswich is 1-2.
But if you wanted to get out now, and you'd have just done, well, you wouldn't have done insurance at all. Is this VAR? This could be a VAR because it's suddenly turned round. What a pity. That was a perfectly timed goal as well.
This market has been suspended.
Who came up with this VAR? Man, I hope Donald Trump will ban VAR when he's president. Goal under review, probably to see if there's a handball in the build-up. Okay. It's always the way, isn't it? We had Erling Haaland missing a damn penalty when I backed Man City at 10s. Had a missed penalty the other day for Palmer to bring me 100 plus quid. Now this goal under review, VAR. Oh, it's not penalty. That was a perfectly timed goal right at the beginning of the second half. Going to have a huge impact on the match odds because the market's thinking this lot are toast. There's still the whole lot. What a pity. We were going to be up and running with a potential 20 quid profit. Jagiellonia Baileystock hitting the 100 plus attacking pressure index. Are you going to take the hint? Let's head on over to Raquel Welch. Have a quick look. This would be based purely on the in-play stats. But when you start hitting 100 plus and you can get involved at low risk, well worth a punt. Go back at 15s or higher, Jagiellonia, 17s. So if you wanted a little tickle, just like that. Ever mindful that this is a derby style match. These are two top three sides. It could as easily be a 0-1 as a 1-1. But you can see just a little dip your toe in there. And you could lay the draw if you wanted. Just to give you a little bit. Keep you interested if you get to 1-1 and Jagiellonia's stats continue to impress. That small profit on the draw will just, I hope, entice you to remain in. But if we can get that 1-1, don't forget 100 plus attacking pressure index. It might be a technique that we can use. Back the team. See it out. If it doesn't produce the goal, cash out for a small loss. So that could be something we can start using, this attacking pressure index, to our benefit. 100 plus, you tend to start seeing a goal. So watch out for that. Newcastle are looking as if they're knocking on the door for that equaliser, aren't they? But will Nottingham Forest score 3 goals?
Goal. Nottingham Forest Newcastle is 1-1.
I was going to have a look at both teams to score no, and then take it on. But you can tell the in-play stats. This is where my pre-match or my should be thrown out the window, and you should be looking at
goal. Nice Lille is 1-1.
So I was expecting Forest, but by that token, I was just about to head over, have a look at both teams to score no, which would cover the 2-0 for Forest on the understanding that they wouldn't score that third goal. So I'd like to get that 2-0 covered because they're so good defensively, and they've scored 3 goals in the last 2 Premier League matches. But that's thoroughly deserved from Newcastle. As I say, that self-belief with that Arsenal win should have really turned me towards the Geordies there. You can see Jagiellonia getting to 99 now. That's probably going to stay at 17s, isn't it? It's not going to drift too much. So that could be a good technique. Wait for the wind to blow. 100 plus. Get out if the goal hasn't arrived. So that could be a nice little technique. Could get you a nice quick back to lay. And if it doesn't arrive, it get you a 40p loss or thereabouts. So that's something to think about. We haven't done any overs today. Let's have a look at the overs list. I'll get onto this one of these days. Really have to give this a good go. This is the over 2.5 goal list. You can see in the Premier League, it's brewing very nicely indeed. Ipswich would guarantee overs basically. Even if it ends 0-2, you'll be out at this 0-2. Lille and Nice, again, overs. The Hoff, what on earth's going on with them? Is this another European headache for the Hoff? They've even failed to score in a recent match. So we are living in an alternate universe. That's all I can say. The Hoff not scoring, Leverkusen not scoring, Man City losing 4 consecutive matches. What on earth? Failed to score against St. Pauli, failed to score against Heidenheim. They've got a touch of the Red Bull Salzburgs about them, don't they? And it's all down Europa League. Europa League. Coincidence? No. I think I've shown you the pattern. It's too great, isn't it? Fiorentina struggling today as well. The normal win machines, but we're getting overs, So it's a good strike rate. This is not overs. This is the last match of the season, of course, as you know. I think this is edging towards ending our interest. Djurgården. 2-0 lead looks comfortable. It's these two. When we get into the 75th, 80th, 85th minute and they still need a goal, this is when you get involved. You know they're dodge pots. That's why you want to get involved late on. You don't want to be getting too worked up about that. Home as well is also good for odds. I've picked them out today, 1.4 to 1.7 at home. So this is just giving you some ideas as how to shortlist a series of overs matches. Don't forget, even a 1-1 could be an overs match, depending on when the first goal was scored. It's post 15th minute in the first half, that would give me a profit. So I think once we get to next season, we'll have a full season of this focusing on overs under our belts, and we'll have a nice set of techniques. We might even have them by the new year. We've got to practice. First half or second half plays. You saw the advantage of the second half 1.5 goal play. It takes 1 goal to produce a profit. Scored before, ideally.
This market has been suspended.
Suspended market, one of our matches of interest. Red Bull Salzburg failing to score. I did warn you. We got the 2-0 covered, didn't we?
Goal. Jagiellonia Bielisto Krakow Czestochowa is 1-1.
There we go. Working for you, Jagiellonia. Look at that, 17.5 is going to drop like a stone now. That's the beauty of that attacking pressure index. It is a wonderful tool to suggest the next goal. Wait for this to reform, please. Don't just cash out straight away. Now, as I've warned you, I haven't warned you, this is what I call the happy dilemma. Are you going to stay in for that £4.90 draw? Do you want to take that 15 quid, add it to your Ajax if you played that one, add it to your Betis if you played that one? I don't think we...
Goal.
Well,
Fiorentina Verona is 2-1.
So take that 16. It's a very reasonable return for the amount risked. Or do you want to stay in now that Jagiellonia have the
Goal.
equaliser for the possible?
Fiorentina Verona is 2-1.
Well, Fiorentina back to winning ways. Fair enough. They're looking a little flustered, a bit like Salzburg et al. This is the problem I have. Which ones do I trust? Which ones do I leave? The wrong ones, apparently. This lot. Goal machines. So Jagiellonia, 22 minutes remain. Do you think they'll get a second goal? They're on a winning run, so are their opponents.
Goal.
They've not scored that
OFI
second
Crete
goal
Athens Kalathea is 2-1.
recently. We can get rid of it. I think I keep getting the alerts for this, and I'm not playing it, so just distracting a little. Spuds. Well, we had that perfectly timed goal, didn't we? Get rid of that Fiorentina match now. Looking perhaps at them coming alive a little bit later.
Goal. SCR Alta Clask Lens is 1-1.
Oh, it didn't come. We should have really stuck with old Lask Linz there. But laying the draw second half, you'd have got to break even because the underdog scored first. And, well, Salzburg, I have warned you and warned you there. So I hope it didn't cost you if you followed Ajax. And, well, it's a kind of odds. You want to lay the late draw there with that 3-2 in mind against PSV. But a 2-2 recently against Nice. There we go. That's quite nice, isn't it? This is the happy dilemma. Do you take your 19 quid? That's a really good return. Are you happy to take a £9 loss for the... well, you can get rid of that immediately. So that's going to be academic. Let's make sure we don't come out of this with a loss. So we'll scratch that one. The draw profits will be a little lower. £2.30 now. So we're break even, and we're big on Jagiellonia, unless you want to take that £19, given the fact it's a top 3 clash. Both the champions Rakow could as easily get the late winner. But that's how to create pretty much a free punt on the side who are at home. Don't forget. And I've just got the equaliser. So good stuff. Get rid of that. Newcastle equalised. I talked myself out of it and was talking myself into it. I was just going to head off to the market. But too late. I was just getting a little tempted in as I started to
Goal.
shots on.
Slaven Belupo and K Varajdan is 1-1.
Varajdan are highly unlikely to be playing that because we've got quality football on at the moment. Nice and Lille. Well, it's difficult to trust Nice with that second goal. Lille are pre and post Europa League, so are Nice. So no excuses for either side. It's not a match I've got a strong opinion on, but secondary stats look as if Nice are up for the win. So I'll just get rid of a few of these. Karabag, Azerbaijanis, won't be playing that. Ghent and Standard Liège, well, very short price favourites. Just keep an eye on that one. Moving on down. Slaven Belupo and Varajdan, no, I'll get rid of that. Poulsen 2-0 up already, job done and deserving. Sparta Prague, another post-European club competition side. As you can see, they've been sorely affected by Europe, I bet. Look at all of those L's. You don't see that very often with Sparta Prague. They're losing the last 2 Czech one-league matches. And guess what? They've been in the Champions League. Coincidence? Well, no. So a very tough. Normally you'd be all over them today, coming from behind, but they scored first and have conceded next. So this is the problem I have. Which one do you trust? Which one do you leave by the wayside? Possibilities of overs in the Superliga, so that's always going to get a neutral eye in. Burnley against the Swans. Well, let's do a little bit of research while the goals aren't coming in. This is my preferred research, or time intensive. But it'll give you a clearer indicator of the key stats. Burnley against the Swans. Just have a look at the goal coming in. There's a goal for Nice, for Lille. There we go. So, and Lille have got the goal. It's 2.25 the favourite. Possibilities here for Nice. Plenty of shots off.
This market has been suspended.
Burnley and the Swans. We've got the luxury of having a walk through.
Goal. Nice Lille is 1-2.
Burnley are set up to be tough to beat. 2 1-0 defeats have come away from home, but being tough to beat, they are tough, finding it tough to score that second goal. They've only done it twice since the 24th of August. Once at home only against a really poor Pompey. So it's 90th minute that was as well. So there's a problem with that second goal for Burnley. It's not costing them too much, only the 2 defeats. So suggesting Swans are having that trouble as well. All 5 Swans defeats have been 1-0. They have
Goal.
twice.
Nice Lille is 1-2.
Away from home. Those have come late as well. So it looks as if we've got some late goal action for these two. Looks as if we've got some troubling goal scoring patterns, and it looks as if very weirdly every single defeat these two have had has been 1-0. Does that suggest taking on the leader here today? Or is it going to be an under market? Challenge table, you can tell Burnley have had arguably a soft start to the season at home in particular, playing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the early season bottom 7 worst form sides at home. So this is a step up mid-table, and they haven't yet scored that second goal against the top 9, playing 11th today. The Swans have had trouble. They've played the top 9 away from home, lost 1-0 to every single one of them. That will be in our mind today. Every single scoreline against the top 9 is a 1-0. So you might want to back 0-0 pre-match or just wait. Certainly not over 2.5 goals, that's for sure. Goal times, we saw how handy that was earlier on. Late action could be on the cards here tonight. If it's 0-0 late on, remember those 4 goals. Not conceded a second half goal. So if it's 0-0 at half time for Burnley, you might want to look at backing a 1-0 late on. Scoring second half, well, if Swans are to score away, they'd prefer to be scoring first half. A lot of late action back end of the first half away from home. That might be a target as well. If you get very low odds for laying over 0.5 goals, first half goals, 30th minute onwards, well, 5 goals suggests you might want to have a play. So an interesting match. You're not expecting a goal fest here. Starting very, very brightly, Burnley. Are they aiming for 2 goals today? Going to be a fascinating match. Every single defeat for these two sides has been 1-0 this season. 12 shots off target for Nice, but they got done by a shot on target for Lille. Are you going to lay the draw, Forest and Newcastle? It is turning out to be a Newcastle match, this one. I fear for Nottingham Forest today. Newcastle are bossing this second half, aren't they? They've got the spirit of that Arsenal win under their belts. Hope you're all okay over on YouTube. I haven't been around for a while. Let's make sure I'm not talking to myself. So just get the catch up on the chat. Newcastle VAR goal stand. Thank you very much. Augsburg and Augsburg have played 5 matches at home and have scored 2-2, 2-2, 3. So it's the old roadie for ACDC. 2-2, 2-3, 2-2. So watch out for that. For both. Ashley says only Van der Ven is missing, injured. I thought Richarlison was injured, Ashley. Solanke and Spurs are in the lineup. Thank you very much, Sean. Yeah. So sorry, I haven't catch up. I want to do this as a pin, so it's on my screen, but I don't know. Michael's still here. Nice to see you, Michael. So I hope you've played some of these. So don't pass them on to Telegram. They're a little more riskier, but as you can see, you can get amply rewarded by turning up at a live stream. That lay the draw is tempting me in, or a Newcastle, favouring Newcastle late on. It might be one for a 1-2, 2-2 perhaps. We've got to keep our liability low because we know Forest are tough to score against, and they do have the Chris Wood factor as well. So that 2-2 might be of interest as a trading vehicle. Chris Wood hasn't scored yet, don't forget. All you need to set piece for Chris Wood. We'll have a look. If the odds are big enough, as a trading vehicle, it covers the next team to score, and it's still alive with the next team scoring at 13.5 as well. It might offer you something. So we'll see. So just have a look in there. Certainly the draw will be layable as late as possible, I would suggest here. If it remains 1-1 late on, we've got set pieces, corners for Newcastle, for Nottingham Forest. We've got that Chris Wood factor. Let's hope he's on the pitch. That will be vital to see him on the pitch. I just fear for Nottingham Forest if he gets injured, because Awoniyi's not getting any game time. Lineups, yeah, the boys up front. The form player at the moment for Nottingham Forest, if he is missed, boy. Let's have a look. They have scoring stats? No, they don't. It's just in-play stats. So certainly Newcastle are dominating on the in-play stats, but you've got that set piece concern for Nottingham Forest, which could yield that 2-1, even though it's going against certainly the second half stat.
This market has been suspended. This market has been suspended.
Find out. Is it a Tottenham goal? We need a Tottenham goal. It had to have stood on the 49th minute for us to get a proper angle in. We were very, very unlucky there. So one of our suspended matches, something has happened. Starting very brightly indeed. They want to banish that 1-0 itis. That's that goal for Tottenham. There's a goal for Newcastle. It was coming, wasn't it, for the Geordies? And let's see. 2. Let's see what that Tottenham goal has done. We needed it before the 70th minute because we've got 20 minutes now. The market's still not going to give up on the Spuds. Let's have a look at what that 2-2 has done here. It should impact it.
Goal.
This is an
Nottingham
illiquid
Forest
market, so
Newcastle is 1-2.
you've got to wait for the market. So while I'm waiting for the market to reform, now you're in a good position in case you get that late. Look at this, it's dropping. That late goal for Chris Wood. So you could even cash out with a 1-to-1 risk reward there.
Goal. Tottenham Ipswich is
Your
1-2.
profit is carried to your liability. So that's a pretty good return, isn't it, for a dip in? But are you tempted in there? Very promising, isn't it? That 2-2. So let's have a look at Tottenham Hotspur now. So like that, if you're looking at picking up green screens by anticipating the odds, this is how you do it. We wouldn't be looking for the 2-2. We would be using 2-2 as a trading vehicle to get the odds movement because it covers the next team to score and it will be alive. You'd have wanted that Newcastle, or maybe ideally Nottingham Forest to score first without Newcastle attacking pressure. So it's good stuff. Tottenham, we've got that goal that we need, but it's going to be difficult to cash out. You're in no man's land. You wouldn't have been in no man's land at the 49th minute. See, this is your possible get out of jail. But I've got the 1-2 covered, don't forget. I don't have the 2-2 covered. So I've got the 1-2 covered. You'll have to be wary of your maximum liability, £9.30. And was it laying over 2.5 goals? I think that's gone already. So I've lost the insurance premium on that. But the fact I've got 1-2 covered means I can stay in and hope that Tottenham score the next goal. The draw will keep me alive. That 39 won't be worrisome anymore. Don't forget, they've already scored 2 goals. They are post-Europe, pre-international. So Zulusevski, if I get my false teeth back in. A few other. Song Chun-min might be off on Asian duty. A few others involved in international duty. Might just be wary of that psychologically. So that is problematic. And if you wanted to give up the ghost, given the unique weekend, boom, get out of that. Possibility here, get out of that. And you'll save yourself. So there's ways to bail out. If you're being strict, the goal hasn't come early enough, has it? We needed that 49th minute goal to stand because we'll have had a whole half for the market to be thinking, this lot are going to do it, you know. I suspect we're going to get another chance at a Tottenham goal. Let's see if Ipswich are late empty outers. We've seen it in the Bundesliga 2, these newly promoted sides conceding late goals. It's a bad habit. It's just the fitness levels are different at this level. These Premier League sides go to the death, high intensity. If you can't catch up with them, let's just get the view stats and matches for both teams. We're going to check the goal times table again, see whether Ipswich are vulnerable to very, very late concessions. So all the way down here. Tottenham, do they score late? They certainly do. They are a second half scoring side. Ordinarily, 67% of their goals are scored at home second half, which augurs well for that 2-2, I would hope. As to Ipswich conceding late on, not so. They're more likely to concede the first 15 than the last 15. But they do score as well. If they are to score a second half goal, it's come late. So a slight negative. The positive here is with the Spuds, 67% of their goals come second half. And the stats are lighting up. That's what we expected already pre-match. That's what we expected. And it's coming to fruition. Those of you sitting on 85 quid for Jagiellonia Baileystock, they're making the right noises, aren't they? For your free hit at 87 quid. Lovely jubbly. Waiting for that 2-2. Chris Wood, boom, back of the net. But a 3-goal corner count. Maybe that's a deliberate act by Newcastle's management. Keep the corner count low. Set pieces are Nottingham Forest's strength. Chris Wood is their strength. He's not your Matt Le Tissier. He's your header it into the back of the net from 6 yards. Spuds, we're looking in good order. We could do with a goal before the 80th minute to get that 3-2 alive. Nice have made all the right noises, but not so shots on target. It's all second half shots off target. That's why they're a goal down. It's not one I've got a significant conclusion towards. We know all about Sparta Prague. We know all about Red Bull Salzburg. Two sides struggling with this increased fixture list in Europe. It's catching them all out. The mighty Hoff failing to score, for goodness sake. And when the Hoff failed to score, well, you know, but don't forget what Bosun was saying.
This market has been suspended.
Suspended market, is that one of our matches of interest? Let's look for that red dot. There we go, that 0-0 is staying despite a very strong
Goal. Jagiellonia Bielisto Krakow
say two.
Czestochowa is 1-2.
Oh, there we go. With these derby style matches, 1-2. Jagiellonia making all the right noises, and they've been done because they're playing a top 3 ex-champion. That's why. Looks like we were done for that 85 quid, but we come out of it smelling of roses with a break.
Goal.
There
Jagiellonia
we go.
Bielisto Krakow Czestochowa is 1-2.
That epitomises derby style matches for me. Despite all of this looking as rosy as you like for Jagiellonia, they concede. So you have been warned, derby style matches are very, very tough to trust. So getting out of jail with that 1-1 swing, take that and run to the hills in derby style matches. Elsewhere, let's have a look. Viborg and Midtjylland, the only reason I got this up, potential for overs in 67% over 2.5 goal league. We're just keeping an eye on Sparta, even though I think we're being strict. We know these lot dodge pot, pre and post Europe. So maybe not trustworthy today. Disciplined and hide that one completely out of my grasp. I don't want to be tempted in. I should have been tempted in with Salzburg, and I warned you. Don't get involved currently, or make sure you've got the insurance covered. Not going to be playing Man U, even though they might capitulate later on, but a going day. He's had an easy run of it, Rude. I'm not going to play Nice. Don't have a strong play, I'm afraid. So let's do a little bit of tidying up. Just to remind you of what Bosun was saying, Augsburg and Hoffenheim. So let's go back to that one, Bosun. Hello, Enoch. Nice to see you. Hoffenheim without a goal. Do be careful, Enoch. Hoffenheim have failed to score twice recently in the Bundesliga, pre and post Euro.
Goal.
Very careful.
Viborg Midtjylland is 1-0.
Enoch, from Augsburg's perspective, played 5 matches at home and have scored 2-2, 2-2, 3 goals. I got to be careful. You've just seen Sparta Prague trouble. You've seen Salzburg fail to score. Hoff have failed to score in 2 recent matches. This is an alternative universe we're in. Man City, 4 consecutive defeats. These things don't happen. So it's very difficult to trust overs with the Hoff. But we could try over 1.5 goals, perhaps. Give that a go. It's an over 2.5 goal league. We know that. You can see recently with the Hoff failing to score against Heidenheim, failing to score against St. Pauli. So you have been warned, okay? But it's very rare that they fail to score, both teams to score in all of those, and then suddenly the wheels are falling off with that European action. But Augsburg, as Bosun has warned, 2+ goals. Look at that at home. Thank you very much for pointing that out, Bosun. So over 1.5 goals.
This market has been suspended.
Match. So we remain at 1-2, and you can get out with a green there if you don't fancy that 2-2 for Spuds. So let's have a look. again, I've just put off by the top. We're going to Augsburg. Having a look at over 1.5 goals. This is my preferred route into playing neutral. You just saw it come in earlier on with Silkeborg's 70th minute goal. If it can come in again.
Goal. Nottingham Forest Newcastle is 1-3.
It hasn't come up. So that's, I don't, it's Tottenham Ipswich, sorry. 1-3 for that 2-2. Didn't come off, but it was a good trading vehicle, wasn't it? To cash out at 1-2. Augsburg, let's have a look. Augsburg and the Hoff. Bit slow. So the draw is 2.36 currently. Over 1.5 goals. Might be my preferred route. Highly likely to be over. And I just want to show you the value you're getting. You're getting 2.86. We should see a nice swing up. 2.5. So all we need is that goal. We know Augsburg scored 2 goals, as Bosun has reminded us. So that's a good starting point. We just need 1 goal to be scored, but the problem is Hoff aren't delivering. They're not delivering. So they're unreliable. Ideally, when you're getting both teams, well, over 1.5 goals, you want both teams to score to be a good stat. Looking at goals timetable, look at the Hoff this season. Awful. Their only wins have come against the bottom 2. Awful. Augsburg will be looking for the win today, scoring 2+, as Bosun has said, against 7th and lower. Some big guns there involved. Mainz, Dortmund as well. So the Hoff are very vulnerable today. And second half goal scoring was about 50-50 for Augsburg, conceding. The Hoff tend to concede mostly in the first half. So they've weathered that storm. They're 2 goals scored come second half. They don't look reliable to give us a goal today, do they, the Hoff? We ideally want both teams working for us for that over 1.5 goals. No shots on target, as you can see there. Only the 2 for Augsburg, so it's been very quiet so far. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Is this some of Enoch's teams, is it, from Ghana? I don't think we'll be playing these, alas, Enoch, but True Democracy, you probably know these ones very well. The mighty True Democracy. We'll get rid of these. King's Palace, Smartex, Lego City, Legon Cities, Hearts of Lions, great names as well. Accra Lions, Asante Kotoko, so you've got any insider knowledge. Desmond Tutu, Crete and Athens Calathea. It's a very rare to see that in the Greek Super League. 1.8 favourites, OFI Crete, thoroughly deserved. Athens, you'd have to say, coming from behind, coming from 2-0 down. So this has got a story behind it. So it could be one to target with a drip lay late on. 82nd minute currently. Athens will want to finish what they started, and they could desperately do with a win as well. 1.8 favourite OFI Crete, not really delivering. Levadiakos could end this draw. You can see the thoroughly dominating, but all of this first half noise, apart from a couple of shots off target. Keep an eye on that one, just to see if that draw will end. Hide that.
Goal. Gent Standard Liège is 2-0.
Well, Ghent, get rid of that one. No surprises at the moment there. Fiorentina, back to winning ways after that aberration midweek. Roma and Bologna is one which has passed me by. Who's the pre-match favourite? 2.15 for Roma, so not a strong favourite. Absolute humdinger of a match. Coming to the last knockings, 5 shots on, 10 off. Fancy a late equaliser for Roma. How has this match come about? Well, a 1-0 to 1-1, 2-1, 3-1 to 3-2. Roma might believe. You can bring that one up if you want. I'd also encourage a late lay the draw, or a late lay of Bologna, particularly when it's a home side who need the goal. So we'll keep an eye on this one. We need that goal before the 70th minute, but I don't feel good about this one because we don't have both teams working for us. do we, based on recent goal scoring? So where was I going to head off? It's just Roma and Bologna. Goodness me. I have to get an auto cue like Joe Biden, I think. Roma and Bologna. If it's low enough, again, you can do 106, 109, just to encourage you to have a go. Okay. 1.09 to win 23. Laying Bologna.
This market has been suspended.
1.06. Because you can bet Roma are going to go to the death. That's why these are so appealing. And you'll make a big profit if they can get that equaliser. But you'll only make about £3.90 loss. So it's a great risk reward. But the problem is, if we get a goal between 1.1 and 1.2, we won't profit from it. Usually 1.25, 1.19, etc. We'll capture that. But let's hope for a late Roma onslaught, because they've already scored 2 goals. So we live in hope. Break even there for Jagiellonian. Had a great chance at 85 quid. But we've got a new possible technique, don't we? 100 plus. Watch out for that in the future. Maybe jump on. If the goal isn't scored, jump out again. Cost you nothing. Tottenham coming to the end. Got the 1-2 covered. But I will end up facing a bit of a loss if we don't get that 2-2. That's where that 49th minute goal is proving so valuable now, isn't it? Had that goal been or stood, we'd have been laughing. We've got the 1-2 covered, but we're going to highly likely end up in a loss position if we end up 2-2. So you have to think about the possibility of cashing out of this at some point if it remains 1-2. Because if it gets to 2-2, we will lose. It won't be too much insurance premium. It's nothing to cry about. £9.30. It's better than losing 30 odd quid, isn't it? £2.90. If we get the 2-2, that could hopefully wake the beast. We might even preempt any Tottenham goal by just adding to that amount. To have more to work with if we get the 2-2, but that will bring that down to 97p. So let's just up that a little bit. If we can get a quick 2-2. And you can bail out now if you wanted. £22.72 loss there. £20 profit there. So surprisingly for me, it's pretty much equalised itself out. The only loss you'd be making if you want to bail out is on the laying of over 2.5 goals. So that's worked out rather nicely if you want to get out of jail now. You could cash out here for a £26 loss, cash out here for a £23 gain. I'm probably going to cash out of this at about 33 quid to take advantage of any possible late Tottenham equaliser. Missing, or are they missing Richarlison? I thought I saw they missing Richarlison, but no. And look at the overs coming in. So it's November time. Looks good for our research, doesn't it, for the overs? Maddison coming on. Bizuma. Yeah, Richarlison injured, it seems, because he would definitely be coming on. But they haven't taken off, thankfully, Son Heung-min and Solanke. So time. Celtic have opened up against Kilmarnock. Absolutely no surprise. They're in one of our over 2.5 goal matches, based on being an odds-on favourite away. So starting brightly, the Scots, 1.25, exactly what you expect. And had I got involved, I'd have got out with a profit, even with that late goal at the end of the first half. Over 15 minutes at 0-0 or longer, back over 2.5 goals, get out with the first goal before half-time. Paul had an idea somehow covering that 0-0. So I'm gonna have to find an overs match to do that with. So be looking at that. We'll be coming to an end of the live stream soon. Oh, the end of this. Boy, we've got to start laying that draw. Farnamo and the Elf. I've missed it all. Oh dear. End of the match. We've got to capture possibility of a late goal. A goal changes the season for Varnamo. So let's get in and let's target that draw. It's a liquid. Ah, that's frustrating. So 109 and
This market has been suspended.
unless this is the Varnamo goal. No. So let's get in late. 1.09 23 and 1.06 32. Very
Goal.
sticky.
Levadiakos Volos NFC is 1-2.
So those are waiting for that late season changing goal. Gothenburg had to get the win. So I don't think looking for an equaliser here is going to do anything for the season. I think it was a win that Gothenburg needed. The draw might do it. The draw might do it. So we're going to lay Mjällby late on. The draw might do it. It's all about whether Varnamo score or not. So the draw might do it with the current scoreline. So we've got to take on the leader here. And it's similar odds. So let's pile in 1.09, 23. This is the time. Pressure, pressure. This determines relegation and promotion. So that's all waiting. Highly unlikely now, the clock is ticking, but motivation are there. Whoever can get their goal, be it Gothenburg or Varnamo, could save their season. If they don't, because we are dealing with dodge pots, of course, in the relegation zone, our liability is minimal. But we've got to get involved. We've had a brilliant strike rate already in Sweden. Don't forget, we've got Norway to come as well. A little early today. It's about 3 matches left. We've got to wait for 2 matches to go. Penultimate day of the season is a great day to trade because it's moving day. Sides can position themselves out of harm's way or into a promotion playoff place on the second to final day. We saw that brilliantly in the Super Ettin, where a couple of the O's, was it Orgrit and Orden and another one, got the goals that they needed, so they didn't have to get the win on the final day. Brilliant stuff. So this is time pressure. Be giving you 110%, covering every blade of grass and all of the other cliches. So you're guaranteed effort, but the only thing you're missing, lack of quality and the clock. Just sit back. No, it's not a worry. We just sit back and hope. Now, Burnley have not conceded a second half goal at home this season. Swansea's 5 defeats. What do you suggest for the second half with Burnley dominating that one? Does suggest, doesn't it, the possibility of that 1-0 at some point. But if you back 0-0 pre-match, well done. I gave that a call yesterday with West Brom, and that with another match, not West Brom, but that was a 0-0 at half-time. Tends to be a good out. Augsburg and the Hoff, well, we're going to be sweating under performances from the Hoff. We know we can't trust them to score us a goal. So that's problematic. 13 shots off target for Kalathea. Can they put the cherry on top? Maybe. Let's get to the Crete match.
This market has been
I've missed it.
suspended.
The Kalathea one. Well done to Ipswich. I've got the 1-2. So let's, if it breaches the 30-odd quid, I'm going to be looking at cashing out, hopefully doubling up. We're getting to that mark now. So if you're willing to risk the difference between that and that in the hope of doubling up with a late Tottenham win, because you'll be guaranteeing 29 quid throughout the board, which includes a 2-2.
This market has been suspended.
32-33. That'd be very nice indeed. Then I can leave the match alone, knowing that I'm guaranteed that if Ipswich win, I'll make the vast majority of my money back. So the fortuitous route today, taking insurance out on this 0-2, wasn't it? I don't normally do it, but when you take insurance out on 0-2 and 1-2, as you've seen here. So here we go, £7 loss or £8 loss for the chance of doubling up late if Tottenham make it. So I'm 31 across the board. Maximum loss here now, 41.77. So vast majority of my money is covered. This suggests there's a bit to go in the match. I will come out of the match with a profit because of this if we get the draw. So it's a low liability match. Don't have to worry about this at all. Those of you mischievous could back Tottenham at 280. But that's the kind of Richarlison match play I would do if Richarlison were on the pitch. Easier man for that. So we don't have anything to worry about here. The 1-2 is covered. Well, 2.45. Well, there's that Viber and Midland come before half time. What a pity. Sorry, over 2.5 goals in Denmark second half. So that opportunity's gone. Potential for a 1-0 win for Burnley. Are they going to be eyeing 2 goals? Because 1-0 is not good on the old manager's heart, you can bet. Well done to Newcastle, 1-3. That was a good play there, yes. I thought keeping liability very, very low indeed. You've actually got a green up at the 1-2, wouldn't you? So that was how to use that 2-2 as a good trading vehicle there. French League looks like a tough fixture list today. No odds on favourites there. So I'll say goodbye soon and I'll head on over. Roma Bologna ends 2-3, so we didn't get that late Bologna equaliser, but liability about £3.50 or £4, so nothing to worry about. But the potential for a £50 profit, so not too shabby risk reward there. So we can put those to bed. No news yet from Sweden. I hope they're still playing. I hope we hear a goal or two because these sides definitely need to score, don't they? But it's a little quiet in the Superettan. 4 o'clock, you see the start of the Eliteserien, so I'll be covering the second half of that. Although it's not panic stations just yet. I'd be more inclined to Eliteserien next week when there's 2 matches remaining. But this could position these sides up nicely for those 2 remaining matches. Get themselves out of any problematic they find themselves in. So let's have a... There's a Mjällby goal against Gothenburg. Okay. Were we looking at Mjällby and Gothenburg? Not too sure. So let's have a look. No match odds market. So I'm not sure what I was involved in. I thought I had some interest there, but obviously not. Maybe it was an over 1.5 goal play, was it? That I lost track of. No, it wasn't, because that was a goal before half time, so I'm not sure why I'm looking at that. But you can still see the goals coming in, can't you? At least 2 goals so far. Eliteserien beginning. Rangers.
This market has been suspended.
Might give us a chance at over 2.5 goals there as well. So there's plenty of opportunities with these ones from the research. So good strike rate so far. Just need to really do a live stream for overs to really focus on it for a full session. That would make life a lot easier for us. So let me just tidy up. What have we got upcoming? Tottenham Ipswich ends 1-2. So thank goodness for covering 0-2 and 1-2 today. That's the problem. 1-2 is your cash out. If it comes in dead man's land halfway through the first half, halfway through the second half, rather than here where it hugely impacts the market. You're half the way through, half the way remaining. It's difficult. Do we take the goal profit at the 1-2? So those of you who attended have seen me come out of that with a break even or just a £7 or £8 loss. Where if you're on Telegram, you've been disappointed with that one. So it is important if you can come. And well, I'm preaching to the converted, of course, because you're here. But it does make a big difference. I wish I could do every session as a live stream because then
This
you can
market
see
has been
what I'm
suspended.
thinking. The plays. So just have a look at what's coming up before we go, or before I go. So we've got a good opportunity for overs here with the newly promoted side. Chelsea and Arsenal, don't forget, derby style match. Okay, but the onus is on Arsenal to get something out of this. Chelsea have a rare privilege or luxury of being able to play a full first 11 in Europe. So they're not going to be too concerned with that curse of European football. These are on the list as overs. So we'll see how these two matches eventuate. 15
Goal.
looking
FC Dordrecht Helmond Sport is 1-0.
are in the overs list as well. Inter Napoli, too much of a derby style match to be on the overs list, ideally, but the research has put it there. So we will see. Dordrecht opening up in the Eerste Divisie. 15th minute, back over 2.5 goals. Get the goal, you're out. Eerste Divisie, high percentage of overs. Valladolid and Bilbao, well, this could be if Bilbao, Sociedad and Barca struggle. So that's the only negative I have about overs for that lot. Allsvenskan, well, we didn't get the final goals, but we only lost about £3.50. But you've got to persist with this. Already had 3 big odds returns for lay the draws late on, or lay the team late on. I hope the opponent gets a draw. We got 2 of them yesterday. Fenerbahce, the special one, short odds today. A special one on short odds. Well, he's a 1-0 merchant, but we will see. It's post-Europe again for Fenerbahce, so potential struggles there. Nice to see. You don't need over 2.5 goals for overs to be successful. Don't forget that. I'm looking at 2 goals at least. Elite Serie A beginning brightly. Live standings. Well, I could take you through who needs what, but it's too early in the season. So
Goal. FC Dordrecht Helmond Sport is 1-0.
3 matches left for this lot. Bran can't be caught by Viking. Season over for Bran, I think. So watch out, dead rubber City for Bran. Bodo Glimt can be caught by Viking and Rosenborg. 49 plus 6 is 55, but a huge goal difference. Highly unlikely they're going to slip up, but mathematically possible, particularly with Viking taking their Champions League spot off them. So plenty to fight for Bodo and Viking and Rosenborg. And Mulder again, looking for a top 3 place. Mulder, Rosenborg, Viking, Bodo. All of those, plenty to play for. Fredrikstad, arguable with 3 matches remaining. You add 12 to that, we're on to 56. So plenty to play for them. Then you get a huge gap. So Fred, Mulder, Rosenborg, Viking, Bodo are your teams with plenty to play for. KFUM Oslo, dead rubber City already. You add 12 to... You get 48, and they still won't breach the top 4. So dead rubber City, unless all of this lot have played 28 games. The onus is on Sarpsborg today to nail the potential survival hopes by zooming up to 35 and 7 points. Sorry, not 35 because we've got the draw already. That keeps confusing me. So add 2 points to that for Sarpsborg. So I think Sarpsborg plenty to play for. All of this lot, really, apart from Odd and Lillestrøm, they can't. Well, they can. They'll be vying for this relegation playoff place. Strange to see Lillestrøm here. So must get a win next match, Lillestrøm, to bring them up to 27. Line them up for the last day of the season. Assault on the relegation playoff place. One last roll of the dice for both of these two. Must win their next two matches. Probably played yesterday, but Odd are playing today. Must get a result. Haugesund must get a result to bring Sandefjord and Tromsø into the relegation playoff equation and to broaden the gap between them and Lillestrøm. They won't be caught today, but they could be caught with the remaining matches. They're all equal. So plenty to play for at the bottom. So it's a match full of Bodo Glimt we know need to win. Fred, I need to win. Viking need to win. Rosenborg need to win as well. And at the bottom, Haugesund need to get something as well. So it's a busy Elite Serie, and there's no dead. There is a dead rubber, KFUM Oslo. They don't need to do anything. And if Stroms don't need to do anything, you can ignore that match. Both sides from now on. Don't be tempted in. Stroms mid-table, but they're 28, 29, 30, 31. I think they're safe, really, Stroms. But if Haugesund get a win, they're up to 30. No, still just not. Just need to dot the I's, cross the T's, get a win today, leave them safe or safe enough for the remaining matches. So I'll leave you with a warning. I did warn that half might turn up, might not turn up defensive. So you're going to have to rely on Augsburg, and that 1.5 goals doesn't look like it was coming in. I did warn you, it's probably not a good candidate. You need both teams working for you. Hoff failed to score against Heidenheim and St. Pauli. So that would be one to bail out 70th or 80th minute. The damage at the moment, really not a good candidate, was it? This is the problem we have with this European club competition. It's affecting so many teams. Trouble scoring. Arsenal failing to score. Hoffenheim failing to score. Red Bull Salzburg failing to score in 3 consecutive matches. This will be 3 consecutive matches. So it's no coincidence. It's a real problem, and I think it will be addressed maybe next season. So the 1.5 goals, you'd have to take the hit and hope. So I need to work out whether I'm going to take a half of liability loss or leave it, because the profit you're going to be making on a few of the others could overcome that 40 deficit within 2 or 3 profitable plays. So it's a pity we don't have the exact times here, do we, to give us an idea of when to get out. Maybe the ladder, if you use a ladder interface perhaps, in this scenario, it'll give you your accumulative losses. So you could have determined for yourself, what am I willing to tolerate as far as a loss position here? You'll bet up for that eventuality. So that's an option with the ladder interface. 13 quid is what I normally look for, isn't it? Oh, sorry. Oh, I shouldn't have placed that. I don't play with the ladder that often, so I've got to really get used to it. But it will tell you if I'm looking for a third of liability is lost, I know I have to wait for the odds to get to 4.5. So that will give me an idea. Similar story. If I'm looking for a £13 loss, wait for the odds to get to 1.28 before I cash out. So that's where the grid facility, the ladder facility, will help. Give you an out. That should have out at 1.28, that out at 4.4. So that's something to work with later on, isn't it? Have at least know the odds if you're looking for a third of liability, or if you're looking for 20 quid, how long will that buy you? I'm happy to take the loss here because a few more of these coming in, and they will come in. I did warn you about this. It shouldn't have been a play along with Salzburg earlier on. But because it's a Bundesliga, and because of that 2+ goal from Augsburg, we still might get an Augsburg goal. You never know. 1.36 extra time, but we're clutching at straws now. Second half beginning, and Swansea have left that dominance for Burnley behind. Don't forget, this could be a 1-0 or a 0-1. I don't know when the goal or if a goal will be scored. These are not high goal scorers. It's not a lay the draw. It's a back the 1-0 if it's 1.2 lay the draw late on. AZ out from them today. We expect
Goal.
overs for draw rate.
Rapid Vienna Austria Klagenfurt is 1-0.
There's that first goal, Rapid Vienna and Austria Klagenfurt. That's based on the pre-match odds, 1.45. That's what you expect. That's another good option for overs. I'll do a full report on the overs soon. My conclusions. There's so many different ways to attack over 2.5 goals. The play. That's something we haven't looked at. Like the Jagiellonia Baylor stock, you can preempt a goal with that 100+ attacking pressure index. I think I'm going to be here till Christmas doing all these Spanish stuff, so I'll let that be. Djurgården don't need I think that's finished. Young boys, well, they turning up today, so that draw might be vulnerable. Second half, 2.45 the favourite means you have to default to the in-play stats, and it looks like the young boys could get that draw second half. They did score first. Lugano scored the next goal. Grasshoppers, don't have a strong opinion there, but the young boys, when they turn up, pay attention. They have been involved in Europe again, so that's the other negative, as has Fenerbahce, as has both of these two, Başakşehirspor and Besiktas. So just muddling matches, aren't they? Do they turn up or not? Do they score? Third consecutive match. It's unbelievable. The mighty Hoff. So over 2.5 goals, you don't want to be relying on a single side with 5 minutes to go. That's not a good position. So those are the matches remaining. I'll say goodbye, I think, now, because we've got Norway will be of interest. I'll follow that for you. But you know, some of these teams don't have anything to play for. Focus on the teams with need. But pretty much the big boys at the top, Bodo, Fred, Mulder, Viking, Rosenborg, everything to play for. And at the bottom, Haugesund and a couple of the others. Thanks very much for coming along. It's great to see a few of you here. And I'll uproar on the field. Jagiellonia 2-2 it ended. Wow. So academic though, but thanks very much for the update there, Michael. Thank you very much everyone for attending. I'll be on a bit longer, particularly covering the Norwegians and the 4:30 kickoffs. But we're entering the international break now, where things are going to get a little quiet, particularly Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday of both weeks. You start seeing the international football on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I don't offer a full service for the international football, but I'll try my best. We don't have all of this background of stats to work off. That's the problem with international football. So I'll try my best for you. Thanks very much for coming along, and I'll see you all if there is any more plays over on Telegram.